start out by telling you about the movie. This reunites you with Richard Lester. How did this come about?
Somebody suggested we make a feature of the tour. I think a lot of people who suggesting it thought, well, it's his last tour. It's kind of natural when the Stones go out, with the Who go out now. The first question is like, is it your last one? And although I said, no, it won't, you know, I'm enjoying this too much, I think they thought it might be. I think Dick probably still thinks it might be. But anyway, he agreed to do the film, and he's just putting the finishing touches to it now, so it should be out kind of roughly spring '91 or something.
Yeah. Well, with him directing this, it obviously won't be a standard tour documentary, I suppose, right? Is that safe to say?
That's the thing, yeah. And in fact, that's been cause of a lot of difficulties, because people are looking at it and sort of saying, well, you know, we want something that looks like MTV, you know, looks well, you know, but I mean, that's the kind of standard in many ways. Yeah. And he, being an older guy, being more a feature director, said, no, I'd like to do something different, you know. So he's had quite a bit of trouble trying to persuade people to do that, but luckily he stuck to his guns, and I think he's making a pretty interesting concert film. I don't think it'll look like the others. Is
the band from this tour going to stay together? You said that you really like this band, it feels good, or is this a
I think so, pretty much, but the truth is I haven't actually asked them if they'll tour again. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, hopefully, you know, they'll stick together and stuff, but you never know what happens, you know. Yeah. I think most of the band will stick together, you know, maybe a change or two, I don't know yet. Yeah. We'll have to see, you know, how everyone feels, you know, when we come to actually do the next. I'm saying we're going to tour at the end of next year. That depends, you know, if we've kind of done a new album, if we've rehearsed up and stuff. But I think it's likely we'll pretty much have the same thing, only a different show. Yeah. Are you working on material now? I mean, you're writing songs frantically? Or? Yeah, I am at the moment, yeah. I've got kind of a bit of time off. And it's great, yeah, I just take days and sort of write some stuff. I've got a little bit of stuff cooking for the next album. I understand you're doing an oratorio of some sort. What's that all about? Yeah, well, that's actually what's taking up my time at the moment. Oratorio is like a choir work, something to do with a lot of choral work. What it is I've been asked by my hometown, Liverpool. The orchestra, the Philharmonic Orchestra, Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, is 150 years old. Not the guys in the orchestra, although that's sometimes in doubt. But they got a big you know, anniversary coming up, and they wanted me to write something, like in celebration of it. So it's like a huge offer, you know, and a huge thing to bite off. How do you do this? Really you don't write it down in notes? No, I'm working with a guy called Carl Davis, who's actually a New Yorker who's living in London. He's done a lot of film work. And I was attracted to him. I read an interview once where he said, if it moves, I'll score it. And I thought, I like this guy, you know, he loves to do that. It's going to be fruitier than anything I've ever done, because just the nature of a symphony orchestra with sort of soloists, immediately it's difficult to make it unfruity, you know. But that's what I'm trying to do. That's basically what I'm there for. There's a libretto for this? Is this a story that ties into Liverpool mythology or something? It's a loose story, a story loosely based on my upbringing. The first half of it is kind of my upbringing, and then it stops being me then, and it just becomes a Liverpool life. Yeah. But there's a loose story. It's nice that you're friends now with the Liverpool establishment. You know, it's been a long time. It took them a long time to acknowledge yourself and the Beatles, didn't it? And well, it's strange, you know. I mean, those kind of classical players, there is a snobbery amongst those people, you know, that normally, like, East and West don't mix, you know, we don't. In fact, there's a strange thing, and when we first started recording at EMI, on the desk, there used to be actually a switch that said classical, pop, and we used to get real annoyed. What did that do? Well, we used to, what have they got that we can't have? Put it to classical. And it turned out it was actually just a range of EQs. We had the hard sort of pop EQs, they had soft. But we used to get annoyed. We said, we're subsidising them. How come they can have all the good EQ? I wonder what you want what you're looking for out of a live album. When you put a live album together, do you want it to be something like totally different from every other live album ever made, or? Sure, sure.
How do you want
everything like that? No, really, all I wanted to do with this live album was give the people who came to our show a great souvenir. Yeah. So that you could actually say, oh yeah, I went to that show, and here's the kind of show album. Yeah. We basically wanted to recreate the show as faithfully as we could. So we didn't mess too much with the running order. Sometimes it had to be slightly different just because of dynamics and the whole thing, you know. We basically tried to say that if you came to the show and you enjoyed it, then this album's for you. This is the souvenir album from it. I haven't really tried to do anything more complex than that. Except the other little trick we've done on it is we've put in, every so often, we've put in these sound check, what we call trinkets.
Really?
Yeah, well, we've just put odd things that weren't in the show. We used to always do a song at sound checks called Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying. It just gives a nice one to do. You see, if you do the show's numbers, you do the numbers from the show at sound check, we're bored by the evening. We say, we've done this once today. So I hate that kind of thing. So the sound check used to be really another show. There'd be about 5 people out there digging this completely different show. So we tried to get that feeling on the album. So there's
what other kind of songs were you doing, for example?
We did Matchbox all the time. That was like our sound check number.
And putting this album together, you have 19 tracks. I wonder how you go about selecting what's going to go on an album like this, and how you selected the songs to go on tour. Do you go back and say, well, we have to have these Beatles tunes, we need these Wings songs, here's some solo stuff, and do you have to agonize over this?
We didn't agonize over it, no. But that was roughly it, what you just said, you know, some Beatles songs, some solo songs. But basically, because I just wanted to kind of cover my career to date and play some of my best stuff, you know, so we kind of selected it with that in mind. I didn't want to just do a sort of 60s revival tour.
No.
I think that's a bit boring. You know, it's okay for some acts, but I've done a little bit more than that, you know, and I do think my more modern stuff stands up. So I didn't want to betray the new stuff. So we decided we'd put that in. And basically all we did was we just chose a bunch of songs, like you said, some Beatles, some Wings, some solo. Not enough Wings for some people, actually. Some people felt we were a little light on things like Ram and stuff. But, I mean, you know, you only got 2 hours. And what we did, we just rehearsed it. And if in rehearsal it seemed to work, fine. If it didn't, but it was maybe a great song, but we didn't enjoy it, we just knocked it out. So we just waited till we had enough songs that we enjoyed. And we said, right, now we can go on tour. And we threw in just some rock and roll things, you know, just that weren't mine.
Matchbox and stuff like that.
Matchbox and stuff. Yeah.
Are there some songs, like the Beatles songs or Wing songs, that just can't be done live, have you found? I mean, did you try them and say they're just so complex we can't get them down right?
Well, I wouldn't say they can't be done. I'm sure anything could be done. I mean, we can record it. It could be done. And these days, you know, with synths and stuff, you can do samples of stuff when it was multi-layered. You know, you can achieve that effect. That wouldn't be the worry that you couldn't do it. More the worry that you didn't want to do it, that it wasn't feeling good. Some of them actually just don't feel so good live.
Really?
You know, they're nice songs, but Hey Jude, when you just sing it in rehearsal or you sing it live, kind of feels like, oh yeah, and we'll go, you all join in, and I bet they do. You know, you can you get a feeling of what's going to happen. Hey Jude, oh baby, take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, baby, you can start.
You've been giving a lot of promotion to Friends of the Earth on your last tour, and I wondered if this tour must have helped them out a lot. I imagine, did it not? Are they able to do new things now?
Yeah, I think, you know, it has helped them. You know, they certainly got back in touch with us and said, you know, thanks for kind of getting our name known around the world and stuff. Yeah, it's really been good. The main thing, rather than the group themselves, the Friends of the Earth, being thankful, which they are, the main thing I like is that kids writing me letters and saying, you know, okay, I did a lecture at my school and I used your tour brochure for the information, you know. That's great, to think that it's got around like that, because that's who I'm interested in, is that the young kids with the message.
Have you rearranged your life in any way for ecological reasons? I mean, we see this more and more. People are like having different disposal systems and paper here, cans here, and stuff like that. Have you totally like rearranged your life?
Yeah, I think it is happening generally. You know, I'm not any more special than the next person, but instead of throwing away your Coke cans now, they sort of tend to go in a sack. To go somewhere, you know. I mean, I'm not a great expert on this, but yeah, you do little things, you know.
I'd heard that there was a story somebody told me about that you were a vegetarian, that you had been liberating lobsters in London. How does this work?
That was a great story, actually. It wasn't true, unfortunately. It was a terrific story.
Talk about it anyway.
Yeah. No, it actually just appeared in the papers. And I just thought, well, I won't ring them up and tell them I haven't been liberating lobsters. I mean, it's a good story, I don't care, you know. But the nearest thing we ever did to that was we were on holiday in the Caribbean, and a local fisherman caught a beautiful turtle, big sea turtle. And we went, oh, wow, you know. And he said, $10, $10, and right on. Bought the sea turtle. He heard, unfortunately, we said we were going to release it, and then he wouldn't sell it to us.
Really?
He said, no, you're going to, if we had it as soup, fine, $10, no problem. The minute he thought we were going to release it round in the next bay, I think actually he thought that the great god of turtles would never send him another turtle again. I think it was that kind of thinking, you know. So we had to give it him back. It was really depressing, you know. Yeah. But that's as near as we got to saving lobsters, a sea turtle once.
Are you a great proselytizer of this? I mean,
I don't even know what that means, Kurt.
Well, it means that if you go somewhere and say, you know, you shouldn't be eating meat, I don't eat meat, you shouldn't do it. Are you one of those people? Or
No, just the opposite. In fact, it's sometimes very embarrassing being vegetarian because people sort of say, oh, I'm sorry I'm eating this meat. It's, like, it's your life, man. You mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I mean, I say I don't want to preach it. I don't even want to proselytize it.
Or whatever.
Sounds like an operation, then.
Well, let's get off the farm.
How's your proselytize?
That's pretty good, since I got it prepared. God. There seems to be a growing vogue for Live and Let Die. There's a band called Jellyfish that does this as an opening song, and Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses is going to record on the next Guns N' Roses album. They're doing Live and Let Die.
Great,
amazing. Man. What was the story of that song? How did you were handed this movie and you had to come up with a song, and was it difficult to sort of...
Well, you know, when you're a songwriter, there's, in the old days, the thing of a songwriter, when I was like about 14, used to be to write a song for Sinatra. That was like the highest accolade for me. Well, you know, after 14, as you got to 20, that wasn't the case anymore because rock and roll had come in. So then the highest accolade became to sort of write like a big film song, and like a Bond feature song or a title song from a big movie. And I was offered Live and Let Die.